What is up, everybody? This is the Petty Eddie podcast, and it's also the Faithful Dogs podcast. We are mashing up tonight. Cavs are coming on at 8, so we'll get you ready for that. We'll talk about Cavs probably at the end of the show. But like I said, this is the Petty Eddie podcast. I am Eddie McDonald, a.k.a. King Edward 15. Zach DeFranco of the Faithful Dogs podcast at Zach Noah 52. We're here to talk about the ugly-ass beatdown we just received last week at the hands of the Dolphins. And also preview the Snow Bowl if that's coming up. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. So Zach, how you doing tonight, man? How you doing mentally, physically, spiritually?
Mentally drained from this team, but also optimistic still. We'll get into that later, but I'm still kind of, riding the wave here. Obviously, yep, he's there, and you can kind of just feel the energy shift a little bit, even with just the media coverage of the Browns today too. Like if you had a guest today watching, Twitter, going through Twitter, you wouldn't think we're a 3-6 football team today. So
right.
like we said in our group chat, Eddie, like just having him there on the field, like, yeah, he's been in the building watching film, but on the field with these guys, it's going to shift the energy. You're going to bring on that kind of that vocal leader. And yes, Josh, we're together, and I'm 2-0 against him in fantasy. I had to bring it up.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I was going to get to that. So before we get into any Browns talk, and before I plug homage, and before all that good shit happens, first off, fuck you, Zach, and fuck Justin Jefferson. I hate the both of you because each week you played me, he has had monster games. This week was like 10 for 193 and a touchdown, and probably the most incredible catch I've ever seen in my life. God. That was just crazy.
Was that better than Odell's catch?
I think it was.
Yeah, because he kind of snagged that, dude. Like if I thought it was intercepted as soon as I saw that.
It should have been intercepted, and then it wasn't. I was like, holy shit. Like, I think just on the pure difficulty of that, like, Odell's is fantastic. Like, that's one of my favorites, too. He just stretches his arm all the way out, catches that thing.
And he was getting held, pulled back. Like, that was.
Yeah, and here's Justin Jefferson just like, yeah, I'm going to be a grown man, grab this thing from you and bring it down. And the Bills defender had both hands on it when they went to the ground, too. And
exactly.
He's like, nope, give me that. So, yeah, I hate both of you just for this week. Once tomorrow night kicks off, I forget who I play. Let's see. I forget who it is right off the top of my head, but I'll hate them moving forward. But until that happens, I hate both of you for then. We're so into the show. Yeah, Josh, I may be my fellow WWE guy. Yeah. Network 216. I'll go after him in the playoffs, and I'll win then when it counts. So he can have these little –
I'll take my bye week. I'll take my bye week.
For now, until I pass it. What's messed up about the league, and for those of you who keep up with us, we were having a network show that was all about fantasy football and keeping up with our league and stuff. Scheduling just got too hectic. We're all busy people. There's like 10, 11 different shows on the network.
Yeah.
So that hurt it. But we have a league. It's about 8 of us in the network. Actually, one's not even in the network anymore, but most of us are in the network. But what's crazy about it is I had the most points scored by almost 100 over everyone, and yet I've lost to Zach twice, and I lost to Matty G 2 weeks ago.
One thing I'm learning about, because I'm in like both my leagues this year, I'm both 8-2 in both leagues. One thing I'm learning about fantasy football is it is pure luck on a week-to-week basis.
It's the luckiest thing. My grandpa always asked me in the past, like, oh, how's that work? Because I was in leagues with my uncles in Georgia and stuff, and I'd schedule where I'd be down there. I'd do it over the phone, whatever. My grandpa's like, oh, how's that work? I was like, really, Pop? It's all about luck. You could have the best 8, 9, 10 guys in the league at each position, and if they don't play well, you don't play well. So, it is luck. Let's see. Josh said, just wait till Ansley shows up. Shout out to her. Then you're in for it, Eddie. Oh, I'm already in for it. I've been waiting to hear from her all week. I'm surprised I haven't, but I know there she is. She's here. I know she wants to say stuff, but at the same time, I know she's busy. They're doing a couple things, getting houses together, picking pumpkin, whatever the hell. I don't know. And Josh, yes, we are going to work on a WWE themed show. Mostly I talk about the wrestling on here. The past few weeks I have not. It's been mostly Browns, but we'll get back to that. There has been a lot of things happening in both WWE and AEW. Josh, we'll set that up sometime, whether it's a bi-weekly thing or a once a month thing. We'll get something figured out. Moving on, this past week, the Browns, coming off a bye, everyone's hopeful. All right, here we go. We just whooped the shit out of the Bengals on Monday Night Football. Myles Garrett had a hell of a game on his favorite holiday. Joe Burrow was not effective. They didn't have Jamar Chase. Didn't matter. It was 32-13. This week, everyone's coming riding the high. Yeah, we can hang with the Dolphins if we just contain Hill and Waddle. The messed up thing is they contained Hill and Waddle to the tune of 9 catches, 110 touchdown combined. Usually that's one of their stat lines, and sometimes it's their stat line by the end of the first half. And if you had told me coming into it that those two players combined had 9 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown, the Browns win 31-27 or something. No, not even close to that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I know a lot of people, me included, I've been saying it for like 2 years now. It's fire Joe Woods, fire Joe Woods. Joe Woods' game plan kind of worked out in a sense. He shut down who you needed him to shut down, basically, that entire game. Hill and Waddle were quiet, and I'm sure they weren't happy with their performances on Sunday against us. I think right now my focus is like, and I'm not saying AB is a bad GM, but he neglected certain positions on the defensive side of the ball that really are showing hard. Like, defensive tackle is a train wreck. We have no one there. Myles Garrett should have had probably 3 or 4 sacks. I know Corey was posting from the Browns Wire. He was posting clips, and he was showing, like, this is a sack if you have any pressure whatsoever from your defensive tackles. There's no help. He hasn't had help since, like, Sheldon Richardson was here. Like, we have nobody in that interior presence that can even, like, they're going to blow 4 or 5 yards off the ball every single play. It's literally embarrassing to watch. It's like watching high school defensive tackles on a professional football team.
All right. What's really crazy is in Randy Gersey, the site editor over at Dog Pound Daily that myself and Jacob Roach from the network write for, we talk all the time, and he was saying, and he said it in our Slack group chat with the network, and just one-on-one, me and him, is the fact that the Browns are known for running the football, yet they did not care to, put the resources into stopping the run. And that's very telling. And I never really thought of it that way. And he said a few times to me, the first time I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then I kept thinking about it more. And he said it a couple of times this week. And I'm just like, man, like, that's absolutely right. Like, they're known for running the football. That's the Browns' bread and butter. And that's going to change a little bit once Watson comes, a couple weeks. But there's still going to be a run heavy team with Chubb, and hopefully Hunt gets on track. But they don't stop the run. And it's just like, how are you putting all this resources into building an elite offensive line for Chubb to run and, be in contention for a rushing title this year, but opposing teams aren't? The Dolphins couldn't run to save their lives before last week, and they rushed for over 200 or close to 200 yards, whatever it was, 190, whatever. It's mind baffling. It's this, I don't get it.
And then you have teams like the Falcons who can use 4 running backs that they picked up off the street, who are now non-existent. I mean, other than Patterson, who did Patterson even play against us?
He got injured, I think.
Yeah, and then he just came back. Like, but then you have Caleb Huntley and 2 other dudes off the street, basically. And they go off on us. And prior to our game, the Chargers, same situation. Eckler wasn't known for his rushing yards all the season. He's a good fantasy back because he's a receiving back most of the time. But what do? They run the ball on us. It's insane, and it makes you wonder, like, was it neglected, or did AB just have this much trust in these young guys, and let's give Jordan Elliott another chance, and let's just draft some bodies to put in there. We're starting to be Aaron Donald, but, like, just don't get blown 5-6 yards off the ball. Make some pressure. That's all you have to do, and it just seems like there's no toughness at that position at all.
No, and I love Tommy Togiai as a Buckeye, but he is not a professional defensive tackle. And I hate to say that, and I don't like to, rag on players, but he has been awful. He's like one of the bottom 3 ranked or graded defensive tackles in all of the NFL. Bottom, not just for the week against the Dolphins, all year, and mostly for his career too, last year and this year. He has strength, but he doesn't have the size to compete with these offensive linemen that are just pushing him around and doing whatever they want. And then here goes a big hole, and then boom, see ya. So I hope that Barry learns from this, and in the offseason we load up, not necessarily load up, just get me some fat guys that can plug the run. It doesn't have to be the most expensive guys. Like a Deron Payne will be awesome, but he's going to be a little bit too pricey, I think. But any guys that are like big, I can't think of names off the top, just big, beefy guys that can stop the run, because that's what, like I just said, they are built to run the football, yet they're not built to stop the run. And that's so frustrating to watch week in and week out, how all these teams that aren't rushing teams just go and kill us on the run. And granted, last week, Tua, killed us in the air without even going to Waddle and Hill all that much. But the running attack open, I swear to God, every time they touched the ball in the backfield, they were 5 yards up the field before anyone was even close to them. And I was just like, wow, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here?
And we all saw the pictures of how big those running holes and lanes were. Like, it's bad. It's bad. And to put in the perspective of what we're talking about here, your top graded defensive tackle against the Dolphins was Jordan Elliott at a 53.2. That's your top graded defensive tackle. Like I said, you're not all going to be Aaron Donalds. You're not going to be a superstar all the time, but make a presence known. You're playing alongside Javion Clowney and Myles Garrett. Like, have some heart. Go out there and play hard. Let them make some plays. Because obviously your DBs are out there playing hard. They're making plays. They're stopping the pass. They're stopping two of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL. It's just embarrassing at this point.
And when we come into the season, I've talked about this a few times on this show, and I'm pretty sure you guys have on your show the different times that I've been able to watch, is the fact that coming into the season, we thought that the defense would carry this team. The offense just had to be slightly better than last year, and we'd be all right. Maybe get to 4, 5, 6, hopefully 7 wins. Obviously, 7's not on the table anymore. But it's really the opposite now. The offense has been clicking for most of the season. They've been doing the thing. They're I think they're top 5 in yards per game. Yeah, they're number 5 in yards per game. Number 5 in rushing yards per game. Even at 20 in passing yards per game, Brissett has had a lot of good games. There's there's some moments that he's had. 3 late picks in the 3 losses we had earlier this year. That wasn't the Patriots. That hurt us. But he's played relatively well, and I think it was Reflog, I think, said earlier that if you wanted more from Brissett this year, then you didn't understand the circumstances coming in. And offense did their thing for the most part. They didn't score as much, and the Chubb fumble really hurt. But they were moving the ball up and down a little bit, and then Miami stepped up and made some plays. But it just not how any of us envisioned the season. But we're still optimistic. We'll talk about that still later on. But it just, I just don't get it. The defense is just, and everyone. And when Jacob was on with me a couple weeks ago, that's after the Bengals game, and it's like, all right, everyone's fired Joe Woods. Well, I was hired Joe Woods. Wait, that's not what everyone's saying. We're supposed to be firing this guy. But like you said, the past 3-4, I think since the Baltimore game, so Baltimore, Cincy, Miami, maybe even the game before Baltimore, his defense has been a little bit better. He's made improvements. I see all sorts of people on Twitter all the time like, oh, he doesn't make any adjustments. He's not blitzing. Well, you can blitz as much as you want, but if you're not getting home, then the blitz doesn't matter. Like, just because you blitz doesn't mean you're getting a sack or you're disrupting the pass. Like,
and majority of the time, teams are going to game plan around those types of defenses where it's going to be quick release options if they can do it. And you're kind of seeing a league today where quarterbacks are like that. You're going to see quarterbacks like Justin Fields even Kenny Pickett, all Josh Allen, Daniel Jones, all these quarterbacks are mobile quarterbacks for a reason.
Yeah, and then we'll get our own mobile quarterback, in 2 weeks after 2 more weeks. But we don't have that now. But Brissett is doing everything he can within the confines of what he can do, what Stefanski is putting him to do. But to your point, shout out Mike McDaniel, because everyone thought, coming into the week, the Browns even said they were focused on the speed of the Dolphins and making sure that they got the ball, or if the receivers got the ball, it was inside the hashes. And, without using the sideline as the extra defender. They did a pretty good job of that, but Tua is just that good. And when you don't get pressure on a guy like Tua, boom, out. And he gets out the ball within 2.5 seconds. You can't stop that. And when Miles is right there, like you said earlier, there's no other guys pressuring him to get a sack. If there was any sort of pressure, Myles Garrett has 3 sacks easily that game. And if you don't believe me, go follow Corey Kinnon of the Browns Wire. He has a bunch of videos and clips of this on his Twitter. So if you don't believe what we're saying, go check that out and see for yourself, because he had 3 or 4 sacks easily and there was no pressure. But Mike McDaniel game planned around that. So he thought, all right, well, they're going to try to take away Tua's weapons of Hill and Waddle. And they did that for the most part. But then it was, okay, here's the run game. You guys don't know how to stop the run. All right, I'll beat you with the run. Okay.
Yeah. And That's kind of insane to me. Yep, there's the homage link right there. What shirt you rocking today, Eddie?
Oh, of course. Every show, the Miles and Chubb. Why don't we just talk about homage real quick? Because we're going to talk about them a few times. They're such a fantastic partner with us. They've done tremendously well by us. I think we've done tremendously well by them. That's for them to decide. I think they've sent us an email saying, hey, you guys have done really well. We're going to continue that. But starting tomorrow, you can go to the Network 216 Twitter feed and then look at them yourself. They're bringing back the starter pullover jackets tomorrow.
So
they did the satin jackets, last month that was in October? Yeah, so they did it last month. Those are still on sale. I think there's still some left for all 32 teams. So if you're not a Browns fan watching this and you're just watching to support us, you can get them starting tomorrow, 6 p.m. Less than 100. I don't know the exact number. I don't know if Zach knows the exact number. Less than 100 of the starter pullover jackets. Go to the network_216 on Twitter. Check those out. Hit that link. Make sure to buy one if you can. And they make great Christmas presents. But those are so incredibly dope. I wish they were reversed of when they came out, because I asked, and hopefully my letter to Santa got through to the North Pole, and I actually on Christmas. But if not, I would have switched this in a heartbeat, just because I like the hood. Now the other ones are dope too. Don't get me wrong; those are fantastic, and if I get one, I'm gonna be ecstatic about it.
Yeah,
these ones are just have that like winter feel, that. Oh. But yeah, homage.com. Make sure to check them. They have a bunch of sales. What's the sale today, Zach? It's like
buy one, get one 30% off. They're going to be running Black Friday deals a lot up until Black Friday. They're called Black Friday pregame sales. So jump on it. They're great gifts. No one would not be happy if they open up homage gear on Christmas. I promise you would make everyone happy. It's ultimate team gear. It's retro look. Any kids listening to this, if you get your dad an homage shirt, dude, you're gonna make him relive his Bernie Kosar days.
They have a Bernie Kosar one in. Well, Dad, I hope you're not watching this, but I hope to get you that for Christmas. Act surprised if you open that. But he was a big Bernie guy, back in the day. He grew up on those Browns. And, so yeah, but I say this every week. I swear to God, it's the most comfortable shirt I've ever owned in my life.
So soft.
It's loose fitting. But not loose where it's like bad loose. Sometimes I adjust mine. I just adjust it so you can try and see it more on the camera. But they're seriously the most soft shirts and most comfortable shirts I've ever had. So homage.com. And it's not just NFL. They have MLB, NHL, NBA. They have WWE, The Office. They have Christmas themed ones now. They have ones from
Home Alone, dude. Some of those Home Alone ones, I need that so bad.
I need those so bad. Diddy Little Jerk shirt. You can get that there. A lovely cheese pizza just for me. And then what's the other one? There's another Home Alone one I saw in there. There's also a
credit card. You got it.
That's one. The one. That's the one with the Talk Boy. If you grew up in the 90s, I'm sure you had a Talk Boy. Sorry, Christian. I know you're a little behind on that. I will get Christian a Talk Boy sometime for Christmas, just so he can have that experience with us. Shout out to Christian. He's on a bunch of shows this week. Continues down with the Browns every week, getting down.
Works hard, dude. He works hard. He's also covers, I think, high school football, live broadcasting. He covers Kentucky football and basketball, I think, on a Wildcats podcast that he started. That dude is hungry for it, and I'm definitely happy to have him part of the network too. But completely change the subject on you, Eddie, because me and you have had this discussion. The best Home Alone movie. It's only between 1 and 2. I say Home Alone 1. That's the classic. You said 2.
I could see. This is one of those questions where if you ask me today, it's one answer. If you ask me tomorrow, it's the other answer. I love them so much because basically Home Alone 1 is the cult classic. That's what got everything started. Home Alone 2 is a carbon copy of Home Alone 1, only in New York. He finds a way to his uncle's house. Finds a way to booby trap that. He navigates New York City. I don't know how a 9-year-old kid navigated through. I know it's a movie, but I don't know how a 9-year-old kid navigated through New York City, because I've been there twice and I almost got lost several times. And the one time I was there with a group of people who were from New York. I went to WrestleMania a few years ago, and it's just it's just so crazy because everything looks the same.
Yeah.
Every street corner looks the same. It's oh shit, where am I? So if you ask me today is probably number 1. But if you ask me tomorrow, it might be number 2. They're both classics. I love number 3 too. It's not either of the first two. It doesn't have Macaulay Culkin or any of the original cast in it. I just love it for some reason. It's just one of those movies that I love. I'm just man, this is a great movie. It's not the two Home Alones we're accustomed to. Yeah. It's a great Christmas movie though, and I love it.
Yeah.
And
See, I don't even know if I could talk about 3 or I think there's a fourth one.
There's 4 and 5, I think. Though I watched, I think it was like the fourth one. It was so incredibly stupid that I had to sit there and keep watching it because it was so stupid. I was like, "There's no way this is gonna be stupid from start to finish." It was.
Yeah, I could sit here and talk about Christmas classics all day. Like,
maybe we'll do a Network 216 Christmas special, and we'll just talk nothing but Christmas classics. Maybe we'll
we need
do
like
that.
homage, like ugly Christmas sweaters.
Oh, if they had those, do they have ugly Christmas? They
I
have
don't know.
I don't know if they do, but we'll one of you or someone can email them because I don't have access. I don't want access to that. That's the people that are good with. I'm good with that. I just don't want to do that. That's just not my thing for this network. That's not what I'm contributing. You guys do that. Send them a little email. Say, hey, can we get some ugly Christmas sweaters? If not for this year, then for next year. Start selling them in July, Christmas in July. But yeah, homage.com. Check them out. They'll hook you up with a lot of cool stuff. Josh says, well, first off, Home Alone 1 is the best of them. So, I'm not going to argue that. Oh, we're going to do one more little Christmas thing from Josh. Now we're getting to Christmas movies, Christmas song debate. You got an actual elf here in the chat who listens to Christmas music all year. Let's go. Would love to be.
Wow. All year. Okay?
So if we do a Christmas show, keep Josh in mind. We did have plans to do some sort of Christmas show, I believe. Maybe it was a Thanksgiving show. I think it was Christmas though. This was a while ago. So in our group chat, we have a shit ton of things that go on. So
yeah.
So I have my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I'll wake up, depending on the day, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, and I'll get there, and it'll be like 160 messages, and it's just like, what the hell were you guys talking about? And the other people have done the same. They come in like, wow, I was at work and came back to my phone at lunch, and here's 275 messages. Sorry, we're talking, we're debating, we're doing whatever.
Yeah, like 20 dudes in there talking sports. Like,
right, sports and not even sports. Sometimes we're talking Christmas and we're talking, alcohol. Which shout out to Miller Lite, great beer right here. Yeah,
whiskey and Coke today. Whiskey and Coke tonight for me.
Whiskey and Coke for Zach. We weren't sure if Zach was going to make it. Tyler couldn't make it. He is on a work trip in Indianapolis. Jack could not make it. He is doing family stuff, which is awesome. But so Zach and I are holding it down. So with the Miami game, we saw one of the rare feats in the NFL, and that's a Nick Chubb fumble. We never see that, or we rarely ever see that. The last time I think that I can remember seeing a Chubb fumble was the Kansas City game in the opener last year. Mm-hmm. I don't recall him fumbling since then. I could be wrong. I could very well be wrong, but
I think that was it. I don't know what. I think it was 2 years ago, the Patriots game. Remember, he broke one, and then he got tackled from behind and fumbled it. But I want to say that was 2 years ago in Foxborough.
Yeah. So either way, you don't see it often. He did that. That was a deflating because the offense was clicking again. And something about what I wanted to bring up tonight when we talked on air is the fact that I see a lot of people online, and it drives me nuts how they say that the offense isn't doing this. Kevin Stefanski's not doing that. The offense is fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
They're moving the ball up and down the field. They're a top 5 offense in the league. And that's, everyone calls him a backup. Last week, Dave joined me on the show, and he and I both said that he's not a backup anymore. He's a starter. I don't care if, he's a starter by whatever circumstance. For the past 9 games, he's been a starting quarterback in the NFL, and for the most part, has looked the part. Yeah. But everyone's like, oh, Stefanski should give up play calling and focus on the defense. He's not the defensive coach. He's not a defensive-minded coach. He's an offensive-minded coach. And Corey Kinnon, again, I love him to death, especially for this. I sent it in the group chat. He had something earlier like, the coach should give up the play calling and focus on this. It's on his side of the ball and focus on this. And he was talking about Mike Tomlin and Matt Canada. And people at first were like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm on. And then they're like, oh, wait, what? That's not the narrative. It's supposed to be, Stefanski's not doing a good job and this and that. He's put this offense in position to win more times than not. Now, it comes down to execute. There's some of these plays that, it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 3. They go for it. They don't get it, whether it's a drop pass or a bad throw or, a stuffed run. If those plays are executed, we're hearing what a genius he is and what he's doing.
Oh, my God. Exactly.
Backup quarterback. It just boggles my mind. And it pisses me off when I see people say that Stefanski's not doing enough. Like, what do you mean he's not doing enough? If he's not doing enough in the locker room, I don't know that. You don't know that. The people on Twitter don't know that. I don't have sources. You don't have sources. Or you might have sources. I don't know. You might. But I don't have sources. I don't have sources in the locker room. I don't know what happens inside that locker room outside of what the media gives us and what they give us. So the Stefanski slander is just outrageous to me.
Yeah, and it's not like Hugh Jackson where he's throwing people under the bus and never taking responsibility to blame. He's just a calm, cool, collected guy to the media where, oh yeah, we have to be better. Let's get on with this. Like he just doesn't, he's not going to say anything to the media. Right. All good coaches do the same thing. Look at Bill Belichick. He's known for just saying, oh, on to the next team. Oh, I don't know. It's day by day for injuries. Like
we played well. We didn't play well.
Yeah.
They played well. Congratulations.
But you're telling me he doesn't have the respect of his locker room, even if they're having a down year? Like he's Bill Belichick. Like Kevin Stefanski is a good coach. He's a great offensive-minded coach. I'm telling you right now, if we were to fire Stefanski, he'd be picked up tomorrow. He'd be an offensive coordinator tomorrow.
Absolutely.
He'd be a head coach, I think, tomorrow. Like he is.
Well, maybe in Indianapolis, with the Colts. Well, no, Jeff Saturday. They don't need experience there. Which shout out to him. But friend of the show,
beginner's luck.
Chops. If you know Brown's Twitter, Chops from the spaces he runs, and they're fantastic. I get a lot of insight from them, and I use some of that insight in my articles I write. I use some of it when I'm on here. I use it some when I'm on Sports for CLE through Cleveland.com. He tweeted out yesterday that John Harbaugh in the first 3 years before he got Lamar Jackson was 22 and 26. Sean McDermott in the 3 seasons before Josh Allen became elite was 25 and 23. Kevin Stefanski before Deshaun Watson takes over as his quarterback currently is 22 and 20. He could increase that. He could be 500 by that time. He has yet to have a good quarterback as his quarterback in the NFL. In his brief 2.5-year stint as a head coach, he's had Baker Mayfield, who he did wonders with. Yeah. Wonders with in that 2020 season. And then 2021, whatever it was, Baker was not good. And then this year he has Jacoby Brissett, of all people, coming in and playing as if he is a top 10, top 15 quarterback in this league. And he's not. And that's not a knock to him. But he's doing everything he can within the confines of this offense. So if you want Stefanski fight, I just don't get it.
I don't get it at all. I don't get it at all. Like I can hear the Joe Wood slander all day, all night. I can listen to that. That's a unit that's just not playing up to any standards whatsoever. And you can't say you don't have pieces on defense. Like, yeah, we just talked about, the lack of talent on the defensive tackle position and stuff. But when it comes to the offense, like I go based off PFF like crazy. Up until last week, we were first in offense on PFF for their grading system. Right now, we're fourth.
Yeah, that's not a huge drop-off.
Top 5 offense on PFF, regardless. With Jacoby Brissett as your quarterback. And I'm not knocking Jacoby, but he is a career backup. He's a career backup. And we're seeing now Baker Mayfield is going to be a career backup.
Yeah.
So I think Tyler said in our group chat a few days ago, they went all in for their quarterback last offseason. They had to. It takes time. Those kind of moves do not just happen like that. You have to go all in. You have to do these kind of things. That's where AB, I would say saved his ass after this year.
That's where he hit a home run. He hit a home run on that.
Yeah. And that was an all-in move by the entire organization, top to bottom. And it had to be to go all in on Deshaun Watson. And now we get to see it pan out. Like, yeah, maybe there isn't. Maybe it might be even a good thing for Deshaun Watson to come back, say we're like 4-7, whatever it may be, and then he doesn't really have that pressure on him to be like, okay, now take us to the Super Bowl because Jacoby didn't start you off 7-4, whatever it was. Like, might be a good thing, honestly, to kind of just start gelling the last back half of the season, and then let's ride the hype into next year. But right now, I know we're going to talk about it possibly soon, or you're going to see Chops talking about it. We're still not dead. I'm just going to say it right now. We're still not dead.
We're not dead, and I'm going to save that for a little bit later. But with Stefanski and Barry hit a home run there with Deshaun Watson. The whole franchise hit. I get, if you don't like the move because of what he did or did not do, whatever, and I get that. And Ansley said earlier in the comments that she's not watching Browns football after the Tampa game. I respect that. If you want to do, if she wants to do that, if anyone wants to do that, I'm not going to knock you for it. I'm not going to say, oh, you're not a real fan. I get it. There's, that's a very slippery slope to go down.
Yeah.
I'm going to root for it. That doesn't mean I condone what he did or did not do.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I don't condone anything that happened. If he did all that stuff, I do not condone it. At the end of the day, though, I can't control what he does or does not do. And I can't control what Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam and Kevin Stefanski and everyone else decide to do it. That's not for me. So if you want to jump off once, Tom Brady comes to town and does whatever and leaves, okay, that's cool. I'm good with that. But this was the ultimate home run move the Browns had to make because no one has been the franchise quarterback in 22 years since coming back. Baker, we all thought it was. Every one of us thought it was. And then slowly but surely it just started to trickle down. He's not. No, he's it. He's not. He's not. He's no, he's not. He's out. Gone. So I hope he does. Speaking of Baker, real quick, I hope he plays 70% of the snaps.
Yes, please.
So we can get a 4th round pick instead of a 5th round pick. I'm sure he'll screw that up for us, but good riddance. But with Deshaun Watson, it's going to change everything. It's funny because we're going to talk about why I think that the Browns have a good shot on Sunday, and one of them is Nick Chubb, and everyone is talking about Nick Chubb. He needs to run. He needs to run the ball more, and I get that to an extent. They're 3 and the stats are very misleading. Site they're 3-0 when Chubb touches the ball 20 times or rushes 20 times, and I get that. But you can't do that. If that was the case, then the first 20 plays of every single game of the Browns would just be a handoff to Nick Chubb, no matter what they run for. People don't know the nuances of the game and tendencies, and there's a reason why he gets bottled up in the past few weeks, and then later on, like in the Baltimore game, is a perfect example. John Harbaugh took him away. Yeah. You're not beating me with Nick Chubb. You can beat me with Jacoby Brissett. Okay, cool. Go ahead and do it, and then we'll adjust.
It's the story.
And then he did it, and then Chubb opened up Chubb's lanes, and he rushed us back into the game.
That was the story of, honestly, 2020. Now that you go back and watch it, that was the story of 2020 and the story of 2021.
Yeah.
Make the quarterback beat you. Nick Chubb can beat us. Kareem Hunt can beat us. The running game can beat us. But can Baker Mayfield beat you when push comes to shove? And literally 9 times out of 10, the answer was no, basically. Like, I think he won one game where he had to come back, and that was the Bengals. That's the only one I can clearly remember. And I'm not trying to slander Baker tonight. That's right. All past the thing. But that's what we're trying to say is that's the game plan still to this day is make Jacoby Brissett beat you now. Make Jacoby beat you. Make a career backup beat you. And Jacoby has had moments where he can still drive the team down the field, get to the 30, get to the 40, last second field goal, whatever you got to do. He's been reliable.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you put your team in a hole, like you have in the Patriots game or, the Dolphins game last week, it's tough to make a quarterback like Jacoby come back when you're down 2-3 scores and try to play catch-up ball. And
that also means you cannot run the ball like you were wanting to with Nick Chubb.
You got to abandon your game plan. You have to.
And everyone's giving. I saw a few people, not everyone. So there was a few people I saw on Twitter last week saying that outside of the first series, which is usually a scripted series, they usually know what they're going to run ahead of time. Stefanski doesn't know how to adjust. And I was like, what do you mean adjust? Like, what do you want him to do? You want him to stick to the game plan, running Chubb when he's getting 2 yards a carry and, setting up these 3rd and longs? They had a lot of success passing the ball on first down. And then, that can open up some runs on 2nd and short, 3rd and short if need be. But the fact is they can't just run Chubb and run Chubb and run Chubb and run Chubb. And then people will be like, oh, look at Derrick Henry. Well, that's not sustainable. Derrick Henry is like the anomaly to the rule because he's just an athletic freak. He's a big dude who's just going to plow over you most of the time until the opposing team says, no, you're done now. See ya. Just like the Chiefs game a few weeks ago when they played. He was rumbling all over them in the first half. Second half, Andy Reid's like, yeah, no. That rookie back there, he can beat me. If he beats me, I'll tip my hat to him.
Yeah.
You're not beating me anymore. And that's what teams do to Nick Chubb. So we're going to see. We saw that with the Bengals, which he has not historically played that great against the Bengals. He's had some big runs here and there, but he hasn't been as great against the Bengals. John Harbaugh took him away until Jacoby Brissett said, nope, we're putting him back in. I'm going to throw the ball and air it out, and you guys are going to have to respect me. Last week we saw that a little bit with him, but the Dolphins are just a juggernaut. They smoke a lot of teams out of the water. They have a high-powered offense. They have a very intelligent head coach. I would love Mike McDaniel as like the offensive coordinator here. But he did his thing. So this week we're going to see it again. So we're going to move to the Buffalo game. And it could be, as reports were saying earlier, it could be in 3 to 6 feet of snow. 3 to 6 feet of snow, not inches. Not inches that I don't know if you guys are getting snow now, but we got maybe an inch
we got some
the other day. It's not as much as we're going to get. Obviously we're going to get hammered. You live in Ohio, I live in Pennsylvania. We're going to get hammered with snow. We know this. That's fine. Quit bitching about the snow, everyone. It comes every year at this time. But 3 to 6 feet of snow could be what we see in Buffalo on Sunday. And I hope we see that. I love snow football games so much. It makes me happy seeing them. It reminds me of being a kid playing in the snow.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. I hate snow. So you can say stop bitching about it, but every year I won't leave Ohio. I've wanted to move out of Ohio, but I just can't, I can't get myself to do it.
Well, now you're stuck there. You just got a house recently, so you're stuck there, buddy.
Yeah, you just screw it. You know, man, all my teams are down here. Like, my family is up here. Like, what's the point? But the snow is up here, and I hate it. So I cannot imagine that much snow. I couldn't imagine playing football in that kind of weather. But if you play for the Bills and you play for the Browns, you better know that you're going to be hit with some lakefront activity. So
Ansley was living in the South for 20 years. Georgia, right? Is it Georgia?
Yeah.
So Georgia, that's where my family lives. My mom, my stepdad, my grandparents live there now. Aunts and uncles and stuff. So she says 20-something years in the South, though. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, Ansley, you're looking forward to it now, but not for long. Not for long. Once that big first snow hits, and it's 10 to 12 inches, 14 inches of snow, and it's freezing cold, and there's ice everywhere. Boom. What part? They live in Warner Robins, is where they live, Ansley. So, let's see, Josh. I have one leg. What does that tell you about how I feel about snow? Well, it's probably not good for you, buddy. But the ice is what irritates me the most about winter.
Oh my God.
The snow is whatever. Like, it is what it is. The snow is what it is. But the ice, black ice, get out of here.
So what's the over under on this game getting moved?
I don't think it's getting moved at all, because the only reason I think that it's not getting moved from Sunday, at least, because the Bills play on Thanksgiving. So the NFL is not going to jeopardize that, because that's a big marquee game. I forget who they play on Thanksgiving. They play the Lions, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Cowboys play the Giants, and then there's another game.
Do you think they possibly flex it to an afternoon game, like a 4:00 game? I doubt it, but
I could see that as a solution to it. But I was right before we came on the air, I was looking at the forecast. Let me look it up again. Buffalo forecast for Sunday, and there's a lake effect snow up until 1 p.m. So it goes from Thursday at 1 p.m. until Sunday to 1 p.m. No, Thursday at 7 p.m. and Sunday to 1 p.m. So I don't think he gets moved. I don't think he gets moved, because that's just a bit much. The Bills play the Lions, and they play the 12:30 game. As always, the Lions play 12:30 on Thanksgiving. Giants, Cowboys, Patriots, Vikings. I don't think if it gets moved, I would say they could move to Detroit, because Detroit is in New York this weekend playing the Giants. Well, I guess New Jersey. But yeah, I don't think it gets moved. I've seen some chatter online like, oh, what's the possibility of getting moved? I don't think it gets moved at all. I think they're going to play in the snow, and I don't know if it's going to actually be snowing when the game is played, or if it's going to stop by then. But I think they're playing in the snow. I don't see any way around it.
I mean, we've done it before. So
yeah, we've done it before. And I was reading earlier, actually the last time these two teams played in like a blizzard, the Browns won 8-0. They got 2 field goals from Phil Dawson, and then the Bills not punted, but they snapped the punt. The ball that's supposed to be punted out of the end zone. So that's how they got 8. And then back, it was something like 1960 something, or whatever the year was. It was 50s or 60s, whatever it was. They won 7-0 against the 49ers, which those games obviously don't mean a thing. But this is why I think the Browns have a chance, because there's not going to be, if the wind is swirling and it's a flurry of snow and whatever, then the passing is not going to be the same as what it is, even if it's, just freezing cold. Josh Allen's not going to be able to sling it all the time. And especially he has an elbow or a shoulder that, everyone is keeping an eye on. And everyone thought he ruined it last weekend when he threw an interception and, tried making a tackle. And he went to the sideline to the medical tank, came right back out, was chilling, completed the game. He hasn't been playing the best as of late. I'm not saying he's not good. Obviously, he's one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the league, whatever order you want to put them in, that's up to you. But the fact that this is not going to be a game where he can just air it out the whole time. Like last week in Miami, okay, we're going to plan to, defend the pass. This week we can defend the pass, but obviously we're going to defend the run, because every team that plays the Browns has a career or, team high rushing every year or every week. But I think the factor of him not being able to throw it, if the weather is going to be like this, and the fact that the Browns have Nick Chubb and the Bills defense is good. They average 109.6 yards. They give up that on the ground per game. That's not bad for the Browns. It's not going to be easy. The Bills have a ferocious defensive line, guys that I wish that we would have signed or traded for or whatever. It didn't happen. But I think that the time of possession is going to really benefit the Browns in this game this week. And that's why I think that they can shock the world. Now, I say that as a homer, but I say it as a realist too, because if you can't sling the ball, the Bills don't run the ball effectively all the time. let's say they're 10th in rushing, where the Browns are 5th. It doesn't seem like they're 10th in rushing all the time. It doesn't seem like they run with Singletary all the time, and now they have Naheem Hines. But if they can't pass the ball, then that could spell a different story. But then again, the Browns can't stop the run to save themselves.
Yeah, and they are just a pass-heavy offense. I think 68% of their plays are passes. So we're kind of like 50-50 split so far this year, almost down the middle.
We've had, I think, one more pass attempt. I think it's like 291 pass attempts and 290 rush attempts.
Yeah,
which for the run the ball crowd, we're 50-50 with it. You just see people see the 35-40 from Brissett and see the 11, 12, 13 from Chubb. That's not really indicative. You have to watch the games. I get a lot of people to see the stats, and
I wonder what the run the ball crowds are going to be like starting December 4th.
Well, that's interesting because they're actually, I think, going to get their wish with that, because now instead of teams just loading up the box and like, all right, Brissett, beat us. If you beat us, then all right, we'll ease back.
We'll have to spread it out. Yeah,
we'll spread it out. With Watson, you can't do that. I know he hasn't played in almost 2 years. That doesn't mean he hasn't been around football and hasn't been working on football aspects of things. But, it's just one of those things that it's going to open up holes for Nick Chubb and hopefully Kareem Hunt. So I think they'll get their wish. But if that's the case, if they don't get their wish, and just say Deshaun Watson is just passing like he was in Houston the last time we saw him in 2020, where he was like the number one quarterback in the league on a shitty team, then they're going to be like, oh, yeah, great. We have a quarterback now. Yeah, that's what we've been telling you. Wait till that. This season, I think us as fans, we always overvalue things. We always overvalue players. And it just, we can't help it. It's just one of those things we're fans. That's what we do. We
overvalue draft picks like crazy.
Picks, sure. Draft picks for sure. That irritates me, and it's irritated me for a couple years now. And there's a guy like JOK. Universally, everyone's like, oh, wow, JOK fell to 52. How the hell did that happen? And he's been pretty much, pretty solid, good player. He's had a couple injury scares a couple times. He's been out a few games, but he's been what we thought he was. But coming into the season, we thought, oh, yeah, we play, if we go 4-0 in the first month of the season, because we had it easy. There's no such thing as easy in the NFL, but an easier schedule in the NFL. And then, you thought you'd lose maybe to the overall, maybe the Patriots, Dolphins, Bills, and maybe one of the division games, which they did lose one of the division games. They lost a few more games than that. So we came into the season thinking, oh, if they can get to 5 or 6, we'll be good. They still can get to 5. And I think they do get to 5. And I don't want to say run the table and then just, go to the Super Bowl. I do think, though, if they get to 4 at least, that I don't know if Watson loses the game. It just depends on the defense, obviously. But with him on the field, that takes the pressure off the defense. And then we're going to see that. But as for Sunday, I think it starts Sunday. And I think this is going to be one of those games. I hope it's one of those games where, the defense has heard it all week. And, Myles Garrett was saying that, you can run through a brick wall, but it doesn't matter if you're not running in the right direction. And he came out today and said it wasn't about coaches or players. It was just the team in general. I think this is one of those games where they just come out and say, you know what, F this.
Yeah.
We're 2 games away from having our guy here. He's back in the building. He's back practicing with us. Let's go get him in a comfortable position and just see what happens the rest of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, a lot of fans are kind of talking like they went into this mindset of screw it for 11 weeks. No, they want to win. They're professional sports players.
Right.
They're not going out there to lose and just give up. Some of the defensive effort looks like it, but that's not the case at all.
No.
But like you said, if we could pull this one out in Buffalo, I think we can go into home against the Buccaneers. That team is so day and night to me. I know Tom Brady's 2-0 since his divorce. That's a stat line that matters.
Right.
But I think if we can pull this one off in Buffalo, you go home, you kind of have that momentum, and then you're thinking starting December 4th, we finally got that franchise guy coming in here, and we can make a push to not only, I don't know. Do you think there's still hope of winning the North? I don't know about that, but one of those wild card spots is wide open.
Yeah.
What is it? The AFC East? They're not making it easy.
Yeah, they have to beat up on each other.
But they're not making it easy. The playoffs started today. That the entire wild card is AFC East.
But they have to beat up on each other throughout the rest of the season. So that that's one of the reasons that gives me hope is they have to beat up on each other.
And we have 3 divisional games still to play.
And
it's huge.
Not only is that huge, but the Bengals are 0-3 in the division.
Yeah.
And then we are 2-1. The Ravens are what? Also 2-1. And the Steelers are 1-2. They beat the Bengals, lost us, lost the Ravens. So anything is possible. And I cannot find it to save myself. I was trying to find it in the group chat the other day. There was somewhere I read, I want to say it was Mary Kay Cabot. I don't remember who it was. The internal feeling of the Browns is if they can get to 4 wins, if they can win one of the next 2, it doesn't necessarily have to be Buffalo. It could be against Tampa Bay. They can win at least one of the next 2. There is hope to get them there because then let's just say Deshaun comes in, they win 6 in a row with him. That gets you to 10. Even if he goes 5-1, that gets you to 9. 9 might get you in. I don't know if that gets you in.
I think 10. I think 10 you're pushing it kind of right now in the AFC.
Right.
In general.
But I can't find it anywhere. But
I think it was Mary Kay. I think that was Mary Kay.
Feeling that if they can get 1 win out of the next 2. And that's why I think this Sunday is so important for them. We've said it, I don't know how many times this year we've said it, must win for the Browns. Must win, must win, must win. And you have dabbled off the bandwagon, been on the bet. Today you got reinvigorated. You said at the top of the show, hey, Watson's back. There's a different energy. And he said in the group chat this morning, all right, I'm starting to believe again. Yeah, that's what you should do because we're fans. Like, until we are mathematically eliminated, I'm never going to stop thinking, oh, the Browns can make the playoffs. I'm never going to until it says.
Oh, dude, I live for the In the Hunt posts.
I love it.
CBS.
I love the In the Hunt every year. It's in the hunt, every sport in the hunt, especially in the MLB coming down the stretch, like in the hunt. There's so many games left and there's all these wild cards now. I love that stuff. The Browns aren't all that out of it. And that sounds crazy. I know they're 3-6. They are what they are. But I really think that if they can get to 4, Deshaun will get them to 9 or 10. And if that's the case, look out. Because then once you get in the playoffs, it does not matter. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter what happened. The 11 games Deshaun wasn't here. Doesn't matter the 6 games Deshaun was here. Whoever gets hottest at the right time. Look at the Giants when they went on and beat the Patriots twice. They were mediocre at best coming into the playoffs, ran the table, and then shocked the undefeated Patriots and then beat them again. Eagles did the same thing with Nick Foles. Eagles weren't supposed to win that, and they did. So I'm not saying the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that, we get – but if we get in, all we have to do is get in and we have a chance. Yeah. We'll be one of the 14 teams in the NFL that say, hey, I have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl and win.
Didn't the Bengals come in as a wild card team last year? They went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, they won the wild card against Oakland, didn't they? Or was it Vegas still at the time? Yeah, the Raiders.
Vegas, Oakland, whatever the hell they are. They suck. The teams that are above us, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're 2 games out of a wild card spot.
It's crazy.
Realistically, 3 because New England beat us. They have a tiebreaker if it came down to a tie. But 2 games, 3. We're at 3-6. The Patriots are 5-4 in the last wild card team. So one of these next 2 wins, and that was the goal from day one when the suspension went from 6 to 11. It was all right. Can you get me anywhere from 4 plus? 4, is like worst case scenario that you can have, and then 5 and 6 would get you a decent shot, and then if you were 6 and 5 or higher, obviously they should be. They're not. That's why I think that's why I have so much hope right now that coming into Sunday, it's going to be a run-heavy game, I think, in the snow. And if that means that the Bills are going to run for 170 yards and we're going to run for 170 yards, and we'll see if one of the 2 quarterbacks can make plays in the snow, so be it. I'm not saying that Jacoby Brissett is anywhere in the stratosphere of Josh Allen. He's probably in a different galaxy compared to Josh Allen. I think he's up to the challenge, and especially now with Watson back, Watson can help him a little bit. On the practice field, in the film room. All right, here we go. So maybe that's just the fan in me, that's the homer in me. That's why I think they can win at least this game. If they win this game, if they win Sunday, I'm going to say they beat Tom Brady and the Buccaneers on the following Sunday, and then we'll see what happens. They get to 5 and 6, and then we're really set. Even if they get to 4 and 7, I'm still going to be pumped because we have a franchise quarterback coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think anyone that, like we said, obviously the situation's sticky, but like you have finally, you have your guy. Your guy is here. You don't have to worry about, okay, what do we do after Jacoby after the season? It's not that kind of situation. It's not Baker Mayfield 2021. Are we going to roll with him? Are we going to play with him on his 5th-year option? Like me, who was deadbeat. Oh, we're rolling with Baker on his 5th-year option. And then all of a sudden by, I think it was Christmas game, when I was like, yeah, no, dude, we can't do this. But no, like you said, we have our guy coming back December 4th. I think the team energy is just kind of there. And like you said, if you can beat the Bills, who were everyone's surefire pick to make it and win the Super Bowl this year, you can go in there into Buffalo and beat them. Say it's a runoff game. I think it's going to be, if the weather is like that, I think it's going to be who can score the most points in the run, and then who can make the most stops on defense. If you can win this game, why not? Why not get going 5-6? And before the season, a lot of fans were saying if Jacoby can get us to 5-6 or 6-5, watch out.
That was the benchmark. 5-6 wins. If 4 was like I said, the worst of the scenarios, and right now it's close. We'll see. One thing that Cleveland has to do this week is they have to force turnover somehow, whether it's fumbles or force Josh Allen to throw interceptions. They're -5 in the turnover rate this year. The Bills are -1, so it's not like they're forcing teams to turn the ball over all the time.
Yeah.
I know he's Josh Allen, but recently he has struggled in the red zone, and a lot of times over the past couple years, for some reason, the Browns red zone defense can, gets it done. They bend but don't break. We've seen it a lot this season. But so the 3 losses of the Bills, the Jets that we should have won, that was the debacle at the end. All that nonsense. We know how that played out. The Chiefs beat them, and the Vikings beat them last week. The Vikings were dead. The Vikings were dead in the water. Kirk Cousins, for whatever reason, didn't just extend his arm over the goal line. They get stopped on 4th down. And then, all right, game's over. Josh Allen's going to take the snap. He's going to lunge forward for a yard or 2, and that's the ball game. Nope, he fumbled it. So they're not, this superhuman team that is just going to just trounce all over everyone, as we saw last. I mean, yes, they came back. They got the touchdown. They came back, tied it with a field goal. But they're not this, superhuman team that makes no mistakes. So if we can get them to make a mistake or 2 and take advantage of it, we have to take advantage of it. But we have to first force the mistake to take advantage. And I think we can do that in this weather, because when it's weird weather like this, when it's snowing like this, or there's a bunch of snow everywhere, weird things happen in the NFL.
Yeah, that's to say the least, man.
And I love it. And so we have about 7 minutes or so. Normally I would say, hey, Faithful Dogs podcast is coming on after me. Check them out. But they're checking them out with me tonight because we're all together. And Zach came up earlier. He's like, hey, do you want to go on at 6 or what? And I was like, hey, how about we just do it together? Yeah. All right, cool. Because the Cavs come on here at 8. Is it the game time at 8 or is it 8:30?
8.
Okay, so it's a big game against the Bucks.
Huge.
Donovan Mitchell is playing.
Yep.
For those of you who are wondering, he is playing.
I think Bucks have 3 starters out tonight.
Is Giannis playing?
Giannis is playing, yeah.
Because he missed a game, not last game, but the game before. I didn't know that. I really did not know that. I don't keep up with the NBA as much, especially since my Lakers suck. But I don't keep up with it as much until closer to after football season and closer to their All-Star break, because I'm more football centric. I'm focused on the Browns. I'm writing about the Browns, 2, 3, 4 times a week. I'm on here this week. But yeah, big game tonight for the Cavs. So this is their first game since so on a 4-game losing streak.
4. Yep.
4. Okay, so tonight, they can get back on track. Like I said, I'm not a Cavs fan, but it's been fun. I've seen them a few times. They've been a fun team to watch. And one thing I will say about the Cavs while we're here, and I was going to come on the I Agree, Go Cavs, our Cavs podcast on the network that Jacob Roach does, and you're on with him a lot of the times. And I haven't got a chance to do it. The one time I thought I was going to be able to, I just didn't work out. What I will say is everyone was excited when Donovan Mitchell came, right? And great, you should be. I don't think a lot of the fan base of the Cavaliers knew how good he was. Like, they saw he was good. I don't think they knew how good he was. In the first.
Okay, see, when you talked about it in the group chat, I thought you were going to go in a completely different direction with that.
Nope.
Okay.
Because I don't think a lot of you, and I don't know about you specifically, but you guys as Cavs fans, I don't think you realize how good he actually was. because he was taking those Utah teams to the number 1 seed in the West and stuff, and he was fantastic, and he's been a favorite player of mine since he came in the league. And I'm just like, man. And when the Cavs got him, I was like, oh, that's a good young core. That's going to be big time. And Cavs fans like, yeah, we got Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, good. And you should celebrate. That's a fantastic trade. I would have traded that same thing if I were in charge. But I don't think they knew how good he actually was. And then they saw it the first few games and just like, oh, yeah, he's MVP. And he absolutely is in the MVP discussion for it. And we're, 10 games in, 11 games, whatever.
11 games, yeah.
So we're a long way from MVP talk, but that's what we have to talk about. We have it based on this. He's absolutely in the MVP conversation. I just don't think they knew how good he was, and they're seeing that now. And that's good for the Cavs fan base. That's good because a lot of, I always say this on almost every show, I'm in the Browns bubble, Browns Twitter, but that overlaps with Cavs Twitter and Guards Twitter, and then sometimes, not as much, but sometimes Blue Jackets Twitter. And then things like that. But I just don't think they knew how good he was. And it's good for Cleveland. I like seeing it. I like seeing teams that aren't supposed to be there. They don't have LeBron. They're not supposed to be doing anything. But he is so damn good. And I'm glad you guys get to see that finally. And, I've seen some hyperbole, like he's the best player in Cavs franchise history already. But shut up. LeBron's still the best. I don't care if you hate him because he left twice or whatever. He won a ring. He won the only sports ring in Cleveland for however many years. And Josh said this has been fun. Bitter fantasy rivals teaming up tonight. See, when I say I hate Zach, I don't hate him as a person. I hate him as a football manager because he's beaten me twice now, and my ego has just taken a massive hit. I talked so much shit in the season, I was going to whoop his ass, and each time he's beat. And this time it wasn't as bad as the first time. But Justin Jefferson, again, I hate him. I don't hate him as the person. I hate him as the fantasy player. If I had him on my team, on any of my teams, fuck, I lost to Zach. Okay, all right, cool. He got me points in this league. I don't have him in any league. I couldn't get him at all. And now I don't have Cooper Kupp going forward. Get the hell out.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I had picked 2 in that draft, and I'm like, oh man, I might shock the world with this Justin Jefferson pick.
And it's worked out. And then after I lost to you with the first week, I won like 7 straight, and then lost to Matt, won again, then lost to you. And you're like, man, how do we let him get Cooper Kupp? I had like the 7th pick. Yeah. There's no way he's coming to me. Someone's going to take Cooper Kupp right after him, and it happened, But it is what it is. It's a fun league that we're in. It's the league I don't stress about because I thought we were going to put money or some sort of stakes on it. I think the last place person has to do something unless it's the exalted one who's not there. But it's the one I don't have to worry like, oh shit, am I losing money? Like, because I run a league that's for money. I'm in a big money league that I started off undefeated and I've lost my last 3 because of bye weeks and all this nonsense.
Yeah.
And another one where it doesn't matter each week. You go against everyone every week. So you get my most points, and the scoring is way different. The scoring is, so it's not 6 points for a touchdown. It's however many yards the touchdown is. So you get 1 for the touchdown and then for every 10 after. And quarterback and kickers are huge in that league. So like coming into this last week, me and my buddy who have a team, we were minus $32. So we would have owed $32 at the end of the season. Now we're only down $7. And it goes all the way through to the Super Bowl.
I like that.
It's different. But the Network 216 league, I don't have to stress about it. Yeah, I want to win it, and I don't like to lose it. But I don't have to stress it. It's like, okay, like, yeah, you lost. That sucks. Okay, well, you didn't lose money. The money's on the line. But we have a few minutes. I mean, it's almost 8, but we'll talk a few more minutes. While we are here, I know you guys do predictions and things this week. So not a Brown. Give me a winner for this week that is not in the Browns-Bills game.
Oh God, let me pull it back up real quick.
So we got Titans-Packers tomorrow night, Bears-Falcons, Browns-Bills, Eagles-Colts, Jets-Patriots, Rams-Saints, Lions-Giants, Panthers-Ravens, Commanders-Texans, Raiders-Broncos, Vikings and Cowboys, Bengals and Steelers. Oh, I forgot that was this week. Oh, yeah, because it got flexed. Chiefs and Chargers, and then 49ers and.
You know what, dude? Give me Cowboys over Vikings.
Oh,
I think Vikings are going to ride that wave after that big win against the Bills, and I think they're gonna get smacked in the mouth. And the Cowboys coming off that tough loss to Green Bay too. Like that was.
Speaking of that, before we found out about the 3 to 6 feet of snow, I was worried about this Browns game because the Bills lost it a couple of different times. Coming off this big loss to the Vikings, oh shit, they're gonna beat the shit out of us. Now I don't have that same feeling anymore because of the snow. If there was no snow, all right, they're probably gonna beat it. They were an 8.5 point favorite. I don't think that anymore. So
I'm surprised they're still at that.
It's at 8 now. It moved to half a point.
Oh, okay. I'm shocked it's not smaller because I think that. What is it? Is it over under 41 points or something like that?
Let's see. FanDuel has it at
45, probably.
Maybe it will load for me. Sure.
Bleacher Report has it at 41,
and FanDuel has it at 41.5. So
I don't think.
I don't know if it gets that high. Dude, I really don't know if it does, unless both teams' running games just are on full force. Let's see. Josh says this week, honestly, is literally either team could win these matchups week. And a lot of these games, yes, that all the games that is listed off, there's a lot there that are just like, whoa, like
it's been a fun NFL season, dude.
There's so much parity, and that's another reason. I know parity doesn't mean anything in the long run. That's another reason I still have hope for this game and then moving forward once we get Deshaun back. There's just so much parity because, I mean, the Jets beat us. They shouldn't have beat us. But they also beat the Bills, and they're playing well, and they're one of the wild card teams in the division. It's just I don't know, but I'm gonna give you one that I would say the obvious one, the Ravens will win. That's probably the one I would go with, but I'm going through these. I think the Commanders. I know it's against the Texans, but I think they ride that wave of the Monday night game, beating the undefeated Eagles, the then undefeated Eagles, give them their first loss of the season. No one gave them a chance in hell for that game. I'm going to go Commanders to keep going with that. And Tex, I know you guys do multiple games every week, but
so that's a funny story real quick before we end it here. I have Damian Pierce in my money league, but this week I'm like, you know what? I like that matchup with Commanders defense against the Texans because I didn't like the Cowboys against Minnesota. I had the Cowboys defense. So I picked up the Commanders defense. So I need Damian Pierce to go off, but Commanders defense to still put up some points.
So he can score 2 touchdowns and get 100 yards, and you can still be fine, depending on how your league works. One more time, I'm gonna plug Homage because they're so fantastic, and I can't get over when Zach or Tyler or whoever it was, both of them, I don't know, maybe Jacob, someone sent in the group chat, "Hey guys, check this out. We're partners with Homage." And I was like, bullshit. And then, I open up the thing because I see it on my phone. I open it up. There's the email. Hey, we want to work with you guys. We're doing this, and this. I was like, no shit. Like I've been wanting to buy from them for years, and I just never have for whatever reason. And now it's like easier for me to. And shout out to them. They plugged us with the shirt. I got this shirt from them, and hopefully we're making them some money. I think we have so far. But make sure to go over to them tomorrow night, 6 p.m. We are, not we, but I guess sort of we, because we're sort of with Homage, but not really. Homage is launching the starter pullover winter coats with the hood. They're different than the satin ones that came out last month. Less than 100 for every team, and each team might vary, so it might not be the same number for every team. So whether you're a fan of the Browns or someone who is a fan of the Browns or a fan of whatever other team, make sure 6 p.m. tomorrow you get on the site and get that checked out, because I don't think they're going to last till the weekend. I really don't think by the time the Browns and Bills kick off on Sunday at 1 o'clock, if that's still the time, that I don't think these are going to be on the shelves anymore.
Yeah, go check them. Go check it out on our Twitter. We posted about it, and Amish tweeted at us Bill Belichick wearing the same exact jacket when he coached the Browns.
So, the Browns jacket? I didn't see that. Yeah, I did not see that. So that is awesome, because if you are like a fan of the Browns, you're a fan of like the history, sort of, depending on how old you are. There it is, right there. Yep. The hoodie before the hoodie. That was the jacket before it became the hoodie. Make sure to go check them out. MLB, NFL, NHL, NBA, WWE, The Office, different bands, different TV shows, all sorts of pop culture things. They have a great Christmas selection out right now. Things from Home Alone, things from Christmas Vacation, Shitter's Full. I know that's on there. I need to get that myself. There's one from A Christmas Story, Shoot Your Eye Out, Kid. There's Elf, and there's a couple others I'm forgetting, but they have a bunch. Check them out. They're doing all sorts of deals throughout the month of November leading up to Black Friday. They're called pregame deals. We tweet out on the network, and then we all try to individually when we can. Network _216. Check that out. Every day there's all sorts of something. Tonight is buy one get one 30% off. Get some Cavs gear. Go Cavs here in a little bit. I agree. Go Cavs. Check out that podcast on Saturday nights. Mostly Saturday nights. Sometimes Jacob does some shorts Tuesday and Wednesday.
Sometimes Fridays, depending on when we play on the weekend.
Right, depending on. So mostly Saturday, but check that out. Check out network _216. There's so many shows. I don't get to plug them every week because there's so damn many. But tonight, 10 o'clock, Dog Chug. I will be on the Dog Chug. I will make my debut on the Dog Chug. I'm looking forward to it. I have some Miller Lights ready.
He's already been pre-gaming for it. He's ready.
I have been. I've been excited for this. Roger said last week in our group chat, "Hey guys, we have a schedule of when we can have guests or when we're gonna have guests and stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm interested." He sent me the thing. I was like, "All right, let's go next week." Like right off the bat. I was gonna wait until the week before Deshaun came, and I was like, I don't know what's happening that week. I just want to go next week so I can get on there. 10 p.m. right here. Make sure to subscribe to YouTube. The more subscribers we get, the more fun things we'll be able to do. Jacob has put himself through hell 2 or 3 times now, 2 times with the chip challenge and then the hot sauce challenge with the wings.
Yep.
There's something else with hot sauce he mentioned in the group chat he's going to do. I can't remember what it was, but yeah. And before
why he does it.
I don't know why he does it either. I don't like spicy things. I get mild. I don't care what anyone thinks. I get mild stuff. I'm good with that. But he does that. We'll have giveaways to do as we grow this network. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to be able to hopefully one day, give away tickets. We're not there yet, but we're going to there. Hopefully give out some homage gear. Did Jason's homage contest run out yet?
I don't even know if anyone picked the score for that one.
Was it a score for this week or this past week?
Past week, Dolphins game.
Oh, so yeah, different people run different things. Jason did that. Jason Han. Not getting down with the Browns, but the Browns Huddle podcast. So we're all working at this, and we're all trying to get to a bigger and better level. That way, we can bring you, Cleveland media coverage, and also not just Cleveland, Columbus, because of the Scarlet and Gray. Go Buckeyes! The Scarlet and Gray podcast every Monday, 6:30, right?
6:30 on Mondays. Yep.
Yeah, Tyler Johnson does that, and he has different people in. Zach's been on it. I will be on it at some point. I don't know when my schedule will allow it. I will be on there. I want to talk Buckeyes maybe before the we play that team from
up north,
over west. Yeah, I don't mention their names because I hate them. A lot of things going on with the network. We're building this. Check out the website. Was it network216
ohio.com.
Check that out. Different people write for us. If you want to write, hit us up. Whether me or Zach or the network, just DM us. Hey,
hit up Eddie or Jacob for that because I don't write.
You can hit up Zach and he can refer you to us.
Yeah.
Just do that. Zach, go ahead and plug things that you need to plug.
Dude, I think you hit it all, man. I think you really did. Follow us all on Twitter too. We're all putting out content daily. So wrestling fans, follow Eddie because AEW is picking up like crazy right now.
See, I don't hate AEW. I just hate that they think that they're on WWE's level. I'm a WWE guy. I've watched
Triple H ever since Triple H, dude.
And Josh, I hope you're still listening. We are going to get some sort of wrestling show up. I don't know when that will be. I can't tell you a date and time or give you a time frame, but we will get that up. He writes for NoDQ.com, so if you are into wrestling things, go check that out. Jacob and I write for DogPoundDaily.com. I'll have some things coming out this week. I wrote a bunch last week. I had some time. This week I'll be writing about the defensive overhaul the Browns need to do in the offseason, some things maybe to target. What else do I have? I'll have players to watch from the Bills coming out this weekend. I'll have an instant reaction right after the game. Well, sometime after the game, within a half hour to an hour after the game. So check that out. Follow the Dog Pound Daily. And like Zach said, check us out all on the network. We all do different things. Christian, like he said earlier, is one of the hardest working people I know. He's a Kentucky fan, so it'll be cool to talk to him this year. I'll have him on the podcast. We'll talk about Big O, Oscar Tshiebwe. I got to see him a lot in high school when he was in Pennsylvania at Kennedy Catholic. Just so much going on. There's so much more I wish I could plug. We're already like 10 minutes over time, but there's no show tonight, so there's no. Hey guys, I'm sorry, Zach and Tyler. I talk too much. Zach's with me tonight. This has been the Petty Eddie podcast, Faithful Dogs podcast mashup. We'll probably do more of these throughout in the future, depending on when the Cavs play, because I know we're getting into Cavs time now. Let's see if they're even on. Did they start yet?
Probably soon.
tip-offs in the NBA are never, what they are, what they actually are. No, they haven't tipped off yet. So while you're watching Cavs, again, go to homage.com, buy one, get one 30% off. They have vintage Cavs gear. The vintage Cavs gear, I think, is cooler than some of the newer Cavs gear. And that's not just it's just worth a lot. Like the vintage Browns gear, I like it a little bit more than the current Browns gear, vice versa. That's Zach, at ZachNoah52. I'm King Edward 15 on Twitter. Hit us up, talk to us about anything. I'm down to talk to you about, wrestling, sports, whatever. I don't care. If you need to hit me up and say, hey, I'm having a shitty day, I just need to vent. Hit me up, please, by all means, because I have a plethora of people who do that. Network_216. And make sure to check out the different links we post tomorrow night, 6 p.m. homage.com. The starter pullover jackets. I cannot wait for those. If I had the funds, I'd be buying myself one. So I hope they sell out. I don't think we have them by Sunday at 1 p.m. So get yours while you can. Dog Chug tonight, 10 p.m. Do we have shows tomorrow? Getting Down with the Browns is tomorrow, right? The only show tomorrow? Thursdays?
Well, it's Thursday? Yep.
Getting Down with the Browns. Check them out. They rock the – is it Rock the Pound?
Pack the Pound. Pack the Pound.
They're going to be doing that again. And then I think Saturday Jake was planning to do I Agree Go Cavs as long as his schedule plans. And then I would plug every single show, but I can't remember them all. It's just that's how many we have. That's how many we have. Yeah. Before we go, I'm going to just say this. Browns win by a field goal on Sunday. I don't care what anyone says. They win by a field goal.
Okay. All right. So before we go, I'm going to say it. I think I got Browns 20, Bils 17.
Okay.
Way under the 40, but
bet the under. Bet the under now. Go now before anything changes. And then obviously if the weather somehow changes, then I'm sorry, but I don't think it's changing because you live in Ohio, I live in Pennsylvania, and that's Buffalo. We're all sort of like in the same.
We're still getting hit out here a little bit. So
yeah, we're gonna get hit for a while. It's winter time. Be safe out there. Drive carefully. Don't slam on the brakes on the ice. Do not do that. But for
Ansley,
please do not do that. You please do not do that, Ansley. I know you're from the South and that, but do not slam on the brakes. You just gotta let it ride. And if you hit something, okay, hopefully you're fine. But don't slam on the brakes. Whatever you do, Zach can show you more of that. And because Ohio and Pennsylvania, they have like the same weather, and it's awful. For all of you who tuned in, thank you, Josh. Appreciate you always coming on the shows. And we'll get that wrestling one up. But for Zach, I am Eddie. You can follow us everywhere. Until next week, go Browns.
Go Browns.